What have you heard about Carvana? Are you watching Amazon Autos? What's happening with Scout Motors? And will Techion win their antitrust lawsuit against CDK Global? From education sessions to the Expo Hall, there's a lot to research before attending NADA Show 2025. New Orleans will be buzzing with news and business developments in auto retail. So get ready for the main event. Say hello, make new friends, grow your network, and learn from the best on ATI Auto Business. What's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to ATI Auto Business, automotive ecosystem, where everyone learns more about the automotive industry. Let's get started with top industry news and headlines that include: has Carvana hit the Hindenburg? What's the U.S. Steel Biden block? And autonomous vehicles gone wild. In 20 minutes, we've got a panel with Mike Benavides, Doug Hadden, Todd Smith, Patrick Janes, Kris, Zecca. You're going to want to stick around. This is the NADA pre-show, January 2025 dealer panel. And we're going to have a great show. Everybody's talking about it now. They're posting on LinkedIn. Hey, I'll be at NADA show. Come by our booth. Say hello to me. Meet us. Talk to us. Learn more about us. And on the panel tonight, we got Mike Benavides. He is the founder of iFuel Automotive. Doug Hadden, Vice President, ACV Auctions. Todd Smith, CEO, Core AI. Patrick Janes, Associate Vice President, V-Auto Inventory Solutions at Cox Automotive. And Kris, Zecca of Auto Acquire Inc. Now, gentlemen, please do hang out in the Zoom waiting room for a minute. I'm going to do some news. Got quite a bit of news, but I'll try to keep it moving. NADA show, Auto Industry Event of the Year. How many podcasts are happening right now about NADA? It's a lot. So if you're here, whether you're live or on demand, thanks for joining me. I do things a little bit different. I'm going to have a slideshow presentation. This is the Expo Hall. I'm going to put a link to, you should do this. Follow along at home. In your car, in your eVotal, and you want to go to NADA show and learn more about it. This is just one page of mega pages of exhibitors in the Expo Hall. NADA show really is the Super Bowl. Oh, I found this on LinkedIn. Car Now shares. I encourage everybody to do this. Send me your booth. Autotransportintel@gmail.com. Booth 7346 is his Car Now. Check this out. See these red arrows? Those are foot massagers. That's right. Go to booth 7346. Get a foot massage. You've got comfortable seats, and you can learn more about Car Now. Come by, hang out, say hi, learn more. It's going to be great. What a great booth. That's awesome. Thanks, Car Now. Cool stuff. Get to know your ecosystem. It's ATI Auto Business. I'm here for you. New, used, dealer, auction, logistics, tech, and more. Automotive ecosystem happens Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Central Time. And we are the neutral zone. That's why you've been seeing, and you will probably see more legal stuff. I don't know what to say. I'm just reading the news. Yeah, there was 2 legal shows in December. I think that's a record here on ATI. Take one of those. Did pretty well too. So Thursday's show, Industry Logistics, is where we talk logistics. We're going to do a winter car shipping status report on Thursday. That is Sue. She's excited. How's the weather affecting your dispatch? All right, let's go ahead and do some news. It's 5 minutes after. I got 15 minutes of news. I know. It's a lot. I'm going to keep it moving though. Oh, Hindenburg research. Did you hear about this? You're hearing about it. This is the article on January 2nd. Carvana, a father-son accounting grift for the ages. What a title. All right. Some of this you know, some of this you didn't know. Carvana, $44 billion online car dealer founded in 2012. the main business is an online platform that allows retail customers to buy and sell used cars. Despite facing bankruptcy risks in 2022 and 2023, Carvana stock spiked 284% in 2024, with investors believing the company's worst days were behind it. Research, including extensive document review and 49 interviews with industry experts, former Carvana employees, competitors, and related parties of the company, taken over the course of 4 months, show Carvana's turnaround is a mirage, according to this report. Research uncovered $800 million in loan sales to a suspected undisclosed related party. See, this I think is this is your breadcrumb trail, along with details on how accounting manipulation and lax underwriting have fueled temporary reported income growth, all while insiders cash out billions in stock. Carvana is exorbitantly valued, according to the report, trading at an 845% higher sales multiple relative to online car peers CarMax and AutoNation. And yes, I saw the LinkedIn post about comparing numbers, apples and oranges and carrots and peas, and I know it's still pretty high. The company has around $4.8 billion in net debt and is junk rated by ratings agencies, according to the report. Used vehicle prices have declined 20+% in the past 3 years, according to Manheim Price Index. Subprime auto loan delinquencies are now higher than during the global financial crisis. Carvana CEO Ernie Garcia III, his father, Ernie Garcia II, sold $3.6 billion in stock between August 2020 and August 2021. Since 2023, Carvana has touted a bright future and posted 3 consecutive quarters of modest positive net income, an aggregate of $245 million, despite stress in the used auto market. For every dollar in net income it reported, the company added $139 in market cap, a $34 billion market cap increase. With Carvana shares up 42 times, father, Ernie Garcia II, sold another $1.4 billion in Carvana stock. Dang. As insiders unload stock, the company's solvency risks remain. Almost 26% of Carvana's gross profit consisted of sales of customer auto loans to third parties, largely in the risky subprime and deep subprime space. Carvana has relied on a purchase commitment agreement with Ally Financial, to which it sold $3.6 billion of vehicle loans in 2023, 60% of its total originations. Carvana has told investors for at least 6 years that it is seeking to diversify outside of its relationships with Ally, but thus far has not announced any new financing partners. Now, Carvana says that's intentionally misleading and inaccurate. We're going to stay focused on another great year. Ish. In other news, tech entrepreneur is trapped circling self-driving in a car on the way to the airport. I feel like I'm in the movies. An LA tech entrepreneur became trapped driving around in circles in an unhinged self-driving vehicle so long he nearly missed his flight. Mike Johns was heading to the airport in a self-operating Waymo taxi on his way home from Scottsdale, Arizona last month when the rogue vehicle began driving in circles, causing him to make a panicked call for help. "I got a flight to catch. Why is this thing going in a circle? I'm getting dizzy," John said to a Waymo customer service rep from the backseat of the spinning vehicle. "It's circling around a parking lot right now. I got my seatbelt on. I can't get out of the car. Has this thing been hacked? What's going on? I feel like I'm in the movies. Is somebody playing a joke on me?" he asked the rep. The rep told Johns to open his Waymo app so she could remotely pull the car over, but appeared to struggle with immediately getting it under control. The rep was eventually able to get control of the vehicle after a few minutes, with just enough time for Johns to get on his flight home. I thought he just got back. The vehicle made 8 circles. Felt like a scene in a sci-fi thriller. It's called Waymo. It's coming to theaters near you. It's going to be awesome. John said Waymo has not followed up with him after the incident. You think Waymo would email, text, or call? No. But he wasn't charged, so that's pretty cool. Waymo did say they did try to reach out to him. But he was in circles, I know. Tech CEO ran red light to save my life after self-driving Tesla put him in the path of oncoming train. Really? In the same week? Silicon Valley tech execs thankful to be alive after a self-driving Tesla led him onto the tracks of a light rail service, forcing him to run a red light to avoid getting rammed by an oncoming train. I think it was behind him in the article. Jesse, the founder and CEO of AI startup Rabbit, posted dashcam footage on the social media on Thursday. On the social media. I added the. On Thursday, showing him self-driving software-steered tests onto the tracks of the Metro E line, which connects Santa Monica to downtown L.A. The clip begins with Lou's Tesla standing at a red light. Once the light turns green, his Tesla, being operated by full self-driving semi-autonomous software, turns left onto Colorado at the intersection. Instead of merging into the proper lane, however, the car is led onto the street-grade light rail tracks that divide the roadway. That doesn't sound totally terrible, and, you know, it's part of the road until you realize that those tracks are walled off. Yeah, there's a wall here. Oh, golly. So he couldn't move into the next lane. And the train was stopped about a block behind his car. It's crazy, it got nowhere to go. And you can tell from behind me there's a train right there. He started shaking. He was freaking out. That's when he turned off the autopilot feature, ran the red light at the next intersection to get out of the train's path. Wow. That's 2 in 1 week. They said this would happen. The lawyers said. That's why we're not doing autonomous level 5. Well, you know, you just argue it in court. Veleo, Amazon partner to accelerate software-defined vehicle development and testing. Veleo. This is happening at CES right now. CES. French parts supplier Veleo and Amazon Web Services collaborate to create digital products for more self-driving. Wait a minute. Didn't we just... Nah, keep going. Veleo is focused on empowering its customers as they navigate the industry's transformation toward software-driven mobility. No, it's to me, it's inevitable. You know, there's going to be, you know, blow-ups and fires and crashes. Whatever. Then I read this. Amazon could acquire Lyft this year? What is going on? Robotaxis quickly gaining ground thanks to Alphabet-backed Waymo. And everything in this market should intensify as Tesla tries to begin mass-producing robotaxis. Uber's chief competitor, Lyft. I don't know how Lyft is doing, but it sounds like it's ripe for acquisition target, and Amazon could buy it. Amazon acquiring Lyft would make the Zoox robo-taxis an immediate credible threat to Waymo, along with other credible threats, as it's easy to picture a world where Amazon expands Zoox with autonomous Amazon vehicles whizzing around and dropping off food. And that's your Zoox. Now, I guess we haven't really seen many Zoox since, and I'm trying to get used to saying Zoox. I guess it's not out just yet. Vegas and San Francisco, 2025, looking for Zoox. Paging Dr. Zoox. Canoo, you remember Canoo. Canoo was auctioning off its manufacturing equipment after its factory goes idle. Another sad EV story. EV maker Canoo is auctioning engineering and manufacturing equipment from its EV and battery facilities in Oklahoma. Following recent 3 rounds of furloughs affecting most of its staff, the auction organizer Bid It Up has announced that the sale will take place via webcast on January 24th, 2025. That's this month. You can get DMG Mori machining centers, Laguna laser cutters, and Aspect vehicle thermal chambers, EV-related tools such as fast chargers, power cycling stations, all up for bidding at Bid It Up. Hey, did you hear that Biden blocked $14.1 billion U.S. steel sale to Nippon Steel? President Joe Biden, still president, has blocked the $14.1 billion sale of United States Steel Corp to Nippon Steel Corp, killing a high-profile deal that sparked a political firestorm tensions between the U.S. and Japan. Biden announced his formal decision on January 3rd after the case was referred to him by a U.S. security review panel. That's a national security issue. Seems like that's an easy one. In a joint statement, Nippon and U.S. Steel blasted Biden's decision, calling it a clear violation of due process and the law governing the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. They said they'll pursue all appropriate action to protect their legal rights, saying there's no credible evidence of a national security issue. What would the evidence be? Biden indicated his opposition to the proposed acquisition, arguing U.S. Steel should remain American-owned. There it is. Arguing U.S. Steel should remain American-owned. Well, it's a union national security. Biden's move could draw concern from North America auto industry, which is a significant buyer from U.S. Steel. Well, there you go. They'll be talking about this one, NADA. Somebody will. Could lead to higher costs, lower sales, and Cleveland Cliffs, I guess, is the potential new buyer, would control 65 to 90% of steel used in vehicles if it were to take over U.S. Steel. Great. Now we're going to find out about a Cleveland Cliffs conversation. That would be an even larger concern for EVs because U.S. production of electrical steel vital for electric motors would be consolidated into one company. I suppose that would be Cleveland Cliffs. The company sold $3.5 billion of steel to the transportation and auto sectors in 2023, about 23% of its total business. And here we go. Nippon Steel, U.S. Steel filed lawsuits after Biden blocked the deal. Okay. Nippon, U.S. jointly filed lawsuits in a last-ditch effort to preserve the planned merger of the companies. The company said January 6th in a joint statement. Here it is. Go to U.S. Steel. First lawsuit filed in U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit challenging violation of the constitutional guarantee of due process and statutory procedural requirements, as well as unlawful political influence. Great. Was Hunter? No, don't ask. And asking the court to set aside the CFIUS review process and President Biden's blocking order. Second lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court, Western District of Pennsylvania against Cleveland Cliffs. Oh, there it is. Cliff CEO Lourenco Goncalves and USW President David McCall for their illegal and coordinated actions aimed at preventing the transaction. Oh, brother. Well, we're going to read about this. There'll be a file. There'll be photos. Great. A survey, Chrysler-Dodge-Jeep-Ram unseats Ford at least trusted among dealers. Ooh, dealers are talking about this one. You know that. CDJR is the least trusted franchise, unseating Ford for the undesirable spot. 72% of dealers signaled they had no trust in CDJR, owned by troubled automaker Stellantis. Big shocker. Just 2% of dealers said they had a high level of trust in Chrysler-Dodge-Jeep-Ram, and 26% said they had moderate trust. A year ago, 39% of dealers said they had no trust. More than 635 dealers responded anonymously. Here's your most trusted brands. Toyota at the top, 83%. Wow. Then Lexus, Subaru, Honda, Porsche. Toyota, Lexus, Subaru, Honda, Porsche. There'll be a quiz later. And least trusted brands, you've got Chrysler at the top of least trusted, 72%. Wow, that's a lot of mistrust. Followed by Infiniti, Nissan, Lincoln, and Ford. Ford was the least trusted prior year, with 48% expressing no trust. Ford ranks 5th among least trusted. How did Ford get out of least trusted? They did an about face on EV. Really? You're gonna give an applause on that? You're gonna take the audience's time to boot up the applause machine? Really? Yeah. Okay. Their reversal on EV strategy as it related to the retailers was very, very, very positively received. And there's a price to pay. Trump says Canada will face very serious tariffs and Gulf of Mexico will be renamed Gulf of America. President-elect Donald Trump said Tuesday he plans to order very serious tariffs against Canada and Mexico. Canada subsidizes the tune of about $200 billion a year, plus other things. They don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military. They rely on our military. It's all fine, but they got to pay for that. Really, Jay? Why not? He's president. He also railed against alleged Chinese influence in the Panama Canal, claiming China's running the Panama Canal. They probably are. And that he might use economic force to reacquire the U.S.-built canal, which was returned to Central American country control in 1979. Then I saw something about Greenland. You know, it's a game of risk. Trump's tariffs threaten dealer profits and market stability. Now, wait a minute. This could lead to a loss in core profits for automakers. If implemented, tariffs could add thousands of dollars to vehicle prices. Really? Oh, man. Better crank up the lobby. But experts see positives of Trump and Congress in automotive. In 2025, when it comes to news that impacts the auto business, we're expecting more influence to come into the halls of Congress, Oval Office, and less from what is decided in the boardroom of the Fed, said Cox Automotive Chief Economist Jonathan Smoke. Lender confidence in the economy and the future, used vehicle value trends, along with lower auto loan delinquencies, could see more aggressiveness by lenders that would reduce yield spreads, which is the premium charged by lenders to compensate them for risk. We expect that consumers may see even lower rates by spring, which would create the most normal, favorable buying environments. So don't worry about the tariffs. It's good. We're good. Meanwhile, CDCA against the Scout Motors thing. What's that all about? We'll be talking about Scott Motors a little bit tonight, I'm sure. Hey, you see the Hyundai driving through the warehouse. The Hyundai's taking a ramp through the warehouse. Now it's on your mobile app and click. You just bought a Hyundai on Amazon. The commercial's coming soon. Pick it up at a dealer. Yeah, Amazon. It's going to be Amazon. Where'd you get all your Christmas gifts? What impact will Honda-Nissan merger have on the auto industry? That will be a buzz. We'll be talking about that. You know, probably half of that story already. And why do you care about Techion versus CDK Global? Well, it's the DMS, man. It's all about the DMS. The DMS is everything. It's your nerve central. It is. ATI is where everyone learns more about how the automotive industry works. That's a lot of news in 15 minutes, but I need to kick it over to the panel. New, used, dealer, auction, logistics, tech, and more. I don't ship cars. I move information. Get the podcast. Enjoy it while you dig the snow out your driveway. And let me know how I can help. Go to ATIAutobusiness.com. This is ATI Auto Business. Okay, do me a favor, stick around. Right after this, we're going to have our NADA Show 2025 News Buzz panel. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Transport Auto Quoter is by far the leading auto quoting software on the market, and the only auto quoter with a pro version that comes preset with accurate pricing for anywhere in the U.S. So you don't have to worry about it. The best part is that no change with your current software is needed. Just plug TAQ in and start booking jobs. Carriers can easily plug TAQ into their current websites and start making money right away. I bet you're wondering how we do this instantly and accurately 24/7. Well, constant analytics is the key. Our Price Watch team is constantly monitoring current market conditions, paying close attention to seasonal and quick-moving industry changes. At the end of the day, it takes a lot of time and data to maintain good pricing, time that most of us just don't have on a daily basis. So free yourself up. Using TAQ Pro is really a no-brainer. Save time and money, maximizing your leads and optimizing your online investments. You'll finally be able to sleep well at night knowing that TAQ is on the job selling for you 24/7. Never missing a potential job.
Are you completely stressed out from all the calls and the contracts and the verifications of loads where nobody ever answers the phone? Call Murphy Auto Dispatch Services today. Murphy Auto Dispatch Services has over 15 years in the transport industry. We are your office while you are on the road. We book, we verify, and we bill out your loads for you. We have an excellent accounting staff and an even better dispatch team. Give us a call today at 417-273-0021, or if you want to email me, it's murphyautotransport31@yahoo.com. Give us a call today.
Need a faster way to move vehicles? Draver has you covered. Whether you're an OEM, fleet, rental company, or a dealership, Draver's network of 20,000 contract drivers gets vehicles moved 75% faster. From valet services to delivery, repositioning, and auction moves, Draver handles it all. With insurance coverage and expert support, your logistics are in good hands. Ready to try with the Draver Now app. Testing out Draver services is simple. Download the app today, request a move, and experience how Draver can transform your logistics. Or contact us today to learn about our full suite of services.
How do you move a fleet of rental cars to different locations on the fly and you've only got 4 to 8 hours? You need a shockingly fast nationwide vehicle relocation platform. Visit Draver.com. Links are in the live chat. All right, here we go. Please do help me wish a very warm welcome to my NADA Show 2025 News Buzz panel. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much.
Great to be here.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go by according to upper left across on my screen. We'll do quick introductions and then we'll jump into some topics. Todd Smith, CEO, Core AI. Todd, please say hello and tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi, very excited to be here today. Talk about NADA. This will be my actually scary 34th NADA, so it's quite frightening to have been to that many. New Orleans is always a fun spot, but glad to be here and have fun and talk about some interesting stuff.
Thanks, Todd. Doug, please say hello. Vice President, ACV Auctions, please say hello.
Hello, everybody. And Jay, thanks for having me on. Todd, I won't need to say it, but I have you by a few years for this NADA. I just look young. I'm really much older than I look. Yeah, this is going to be a great year. First of all, I can't believe it says 2025, but I am really looking forward to, I think we're going to have some crazy stuff that we're all going to find out about at NADA this year for sure.
I agree with that. All right. So this is great. Everybody has a lot of years under their belt. Mike Benavides, founder iFuel Automotive. I know you've been there a lot. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, I guess I'm the youngster of the group. This will be my 27th NADA, but I'm very excited to be back in New Orleans. It's a great spot for the convention, and should be a really great week.
Amazing. All right, new to ATI, first time. Christopher Zecca Ross, co-founder Auto Acquire. Please say hello.
Yeah, hi, Jay. Yeah, I guess I am the guy who was left back at the store to run the dealership whenever everyone was out at the out at NADA. So this is going to be my third. Yeah, I was running new car stores for until 2018. So, but we are definitely stoked to go out there and cut it up over there in New Orleans. Be a good time.
All right. Well, you're in good company. And rounding out the panel, oh man, Associate Vice President, V Auto Inventory at Cox Automotive, Patrick James. How are you doing?
Great. I'm going to join Christopher there. First third of my career was at an OEM, so they didn't let us go to NADA, right, unless you were in the make meeting. And then I had another third in retail, and I was selling cars too with you, buddy. So I couldn't get to NADA, but the last third of my career as a vendor partner, I guess I've spent the last 6 or 7 years at NADA. So I have a little experience there, but I spent a lot of time away from it as well.
So, all right. Thank you, gentlemen, for saying hello, taking the time. We got 30 minutes on the clock to talk about NADA. Where's a good place to start? I know many of you are very active on LinkedIn. You want to talk about a headline? You want to talk about a party? You want to talk about a booth? What do you want to do?
There's a ton to talk about, but I think we'd be probably a little amiss if we didn't mention a couple things real quick. One, thoughts and prayers go out to all the people that are affected, friends and family, and those affected by the tragedy that was there. That's just a horrible thing. But unfortunately, on top of that, I think it may impact some of the head count that shows up there. I can't be positive about that, but I've been getting some feedback on that, which it would be a disappointment for everybody, especially all of us on this call that are going there. But I think it's still going to be one of the strongest ones we've had in New Orleans in a while. I think even with the headwind, so to speak, I think it'll be a really great show because look, every dealer in the country right now is going, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I'm not making the money that I was making before. And, I'm sure Todd, Pat, I know you guys, we could talk about, vehicle values all day long and things like that, but it's going to be, there's some folks going to be there that are going to be looking for the answers, right? They're going to be going, what can I do? What are the activities that I have to do as a dealer to get back to where I was? I think that's going to be the big piece at least for us, I hope.
Yeah, Doug, I'll echo the attendance thing, but I'm going to take us back to Dallas, right? So we all know Vegas is a big draw, and we all know dealers love to go to Vegas. Sometimes they get a little distracted when they're in Vegas, though, and we don't see them as much, at the show or in the workshops, right? But I remember the Dallas show was a fabulous show for us because those that did come were very focused on what they were going to do with their businesses for the year, and they were really hunting for solutions. So I'm optimistic from that perspective that they're coming and ready to determine what they're going to need, the tools they're going to need to be able to get the job done this year. So
yeah, look, I feel, as you were saying, I don't know if we ever go back to how business was. I think we have to look, it's like a rubber band. You stretch it out. It's never going to return to, what I consider post-pandemic inventory and all the alignment that they had. The dealers had insane profitability. I mean, my background was retail. The numbers my dealer friends were putting up, it was astonishing to me to be able to be that profitable for those years. And though, you want to kind of recast the business going forward, I think we're going to need to look at it slightly differently, create more innovation around how we're going to operate, because what was done in the past probably is not going to operate highly effectively in the future, especially with tech changing. Like everyone here has tech background or is involved in technology in the space we're in. So it's going to be really interesting how we kind of move into 25. And I mean, it's exciting. So that's for sure. So it's retailing, right? It's always a grind. Just more back to normal. So
I recently heard someone say on LinkedIn that the focus is now more on vehicle acquisition.
Yeah, I get a lot of calls like, how do they acquire more cars from their own inventory, their own drive, right? Service drive, like figuring out acquisition there. I think, obviously, I think ACV's got, what is it, Clear Car that's doing it, and vAuto, I feel like figuring out that model without it being disruptive, or I think, again, in retail, I would put the worst sales guy to go and mine the service drive, which was probably not the best idea, right? And it just never really worked, or was hit and miss, like performance results. And then once they got busy, then they left the drive alone, or it's conflicting, the service advisor and then salespeople are in a contentious relationship, right? Because I'm either peeling them out of the car now to put them into a new car, which may or may not turn into, goes from customer pay to internal, like, are they going to make the same money, et cetera? Or, they're not going to do any of the repairs, move the car, wholesale it. So, you have that battle that takes place. But I feel like going into this year, that is one of the biggest battlegrounds, is figuring out how to acquire more inventory from the street, my existing customers. I think we've all probably read recently, CarMax, Carvana, their acquisition strategy is, 90 some percent. It's from like internal versus buying at auction and buying, other places. And I think, I don't know, I guess in experience, what do you guys think? I feel probably the last 2 years, the auction was like being at a bar at 2 o'clock in the morning. There's not a lot left there to get. Like it was, and I had to say it in that way because, there was a lot
I have no idea what you're talking about, Todd.
Yeah. There's just a lot of very overpriced junk running through at that last minute. So, it's going to be very interesting. And I think that's more new where, I think dealers have always probably done this to some degree, but they're going to have to actually put it into a true business practice, right? Like with training, with support, with process, with all maybe tech that's going to have to support it to really make it work. I think it's such an untapped value that they just haven't addressed.
Well, certainly one of the key drivers that's moving that kind of behavior is the fact that lease returns are way down, and they'll continue to slide in 2025. From the COVID era, people, these vehicles weren't moving. You have a downturn in leasing thereafter, and an increase in financed vehicles, and that's one of the reasons why dealers are scrambling and focusing on vehicle acquisition as a customer acquisition strategy overall. They need that inventory, they need those customers. And now you see a lot of systems and services that are focusing on leveraging all the information available to them to reach these people ahead of time and proactively get them in and out of their vehicles. You see a lot of dealer advertising focusing on sell us your car, not necessarily buy a car, and almost like it's a byproduct. And obviously, that's something that we've seen over the last several years continue to grow. And you're seeing the solutions now from the industry begin to focus on those, and you'll see a lot of that on display at the show.
Mike, I'll throw a stat in there on that lease maturity thing that we at Cox has projected. They're going to be down about 17% from this year. So for 25, they'll be down 17% from 24. In Q4, lease maturities were down 18% from the prior year. So it is obviously we're getting into that point where
how are you 14%?
We had the chip shortage and the reduction in those cars weren't leased, and they're just not coming to the doorstep. Mm-hmm. So that's where the dealers got to work to find that inventory.
The gravy days of going to the auction and standing in the lane and raising your hand in the lease lane, they don't exist. Or the better part was you didn't have to go to the auction because they all came to you. They ground those cars, and there they are. When there was too many cars, then you'd negotiate with the captive or the lease company, whoever dropped it off, to get a better deal than what the original whatever they told you first to buy the car. You're going to get it for less, because otherwise the car's going to sit there for 30 days, 60 days. You're going to call the lender, go, come pick this car up before it ends up on the parts rack in the back. But it's not. They're just not going to be there. What was it, Pat? 14% less?
What's 25 is going to be down 17% over this year. This year was down almost 18% from the prior year. It's it doesn't come back anytime soon, right? No. Because obviously, leasing is just now. I think the OEMs are going, oh, wait a minute, maybe we ought to try this again, because it does bring those customers back every 3 years, and they're starting to get back into putting some programs out there. But we're going to have a drought here for a while, for sure.
Great. So I wanted to real quick just thank the panel for steering the entire conversation to the name of the company that we just founded, Auto Acquire AI. So thank you all for that, for the plug. We definitely appreciate it from me and my team. But I just wanted to point out that I think that what further pushes pressure on the used car market is this, the inflation of new car pricing that happened over COVID that still hasn't come down, that is trying to get forced down by the interest rates going up. So trying to hold on to it long enough to put pressure on the OEMs to bring these pricing down. In the middle of the crosshairs that are these dealers. They're just getting pounded because nobody can afford a car payment. Nobody wants a car payment with a comma in it. Like nobody wants that. Like it's rowdy, and that's what it is right now. And so until that comes down to some place that makes sense for your typical buyer, there's going to be a massive demand bubble that's out there. At some point in time, it's going to come to a critical mass, and they're going to start selling new cars like crazy. In the meantime, they have to keep their businesses going, and they have to put pressure on used cars. They have to go fund this inventory that works for them, and they're leaning on technology and the promise of AI to be able to do all this is I don't know if anybody's comfortable enough to be able to really lean headfirst into saying, how much AI will I use to go buy a used car, right? So we're on the forefront of trying to help make that happen, but the reality is it's a fight to try to, it's a little by slowly, right? So they want to believe it and they want to use it, but I think kind of like Viato whenever it first came, and like the reason why I believed in Viato whenever I used it for 15, 20 years is because I could always look at the data set and be able to say, okay, I get that, I believe it because I can see it. And if you couldn't do those things, then you don't believe it at all, and it's nonsense to you. And I think that's where most dealers operate from, is that everyone's out to get me, and you have to peel your way through all of that in order to make a decision. It's tough, and you have to make decisions to buy cars, because it's not just like, you're not fighting against their neighbor anymore. You're fighting against a whole bunch of other people that are putting instant offers on cars all day long. And so you really have to go put your best foot forward in the instant offer market to go out there and get anything out of it now. If not, your neighbors are gonna, like CarMax and Carvana, are picking your pockets all day long, and it's silly. There's no reason why that should be happening. These dealers need the inventory, and that's how they're going to make their profit and get through this next period for the next 12 months until base price MSRP start going down, in addition to having some rebates, in addition to having good interest rates, so people can start buying again.
Yeah. I think the other side is, service is going to kick in. I think smart dealers are going to triple down into their service drive to just drive more service business. I feel like, the closer you get to your 100% absorption rate, which is the coveted number, the better. And I think, a lot of GMs, dealers, that they didn't come up in that side of the business. So I think they're going to have to just spend more time there, really work that side of the business to kind of anchor the business, because that's one thing that's super consistent. Dealers lose a lot out of the back end to sub shops that they don't even know. They're losing customers. They have tons of people in their database, don't even own those cars anymore, they're marketing to, but they think they're their customers. I think there's huge opportunity inside there for dealers this year too, to, kind of be grounded in that part of the business. I look at car dealerships are 5 businesses like jammed into one, right? But I think that's another one that they just have to like really get their arms around and focus, because, at the end, I mean, if your service drive is packed, you end up selling more cars just naturally too.
And it creates a source of used cars too, right? I mean, if you're working your service drive. Now, again, let's not use the strategy you mentioned earlier, which is send the sales guy to talk to the customer in the lounge, but actually have a strategy to evaluate cars, get permission from the customer before they come in and say, hey, we'd like to put a number on your car while you're here, no obligation, don't need to buy anything else. I mean, the disruptors, as we call them, that are buying out of driveways, don't have a service drive, for them to pull into. The dealers do. So if they can build that service business and then go out there and cultivate the relationship and put a fair number on the car, it's just another sourcing opportunity that some dealers are really seeing some benefit from.
Yeah, you think about put a hang tag on every car that as it's leaving, it has the appraisal. Hey, looked at your car today. If you're interested in selling, you can get as much as blah, blah, blah. And you know what I mean? Like something like that just alone would be impactful. So I tried to convince another dealer buddy who has a bunch of stores to buy car washes. Because I was like, appraise every car that goes through the car wash. You can give car washes away in the local town. But I mean, at the end, think about all the appraisal opportunities. If you're looking at thousands and thousands of cars a week, that is so much beyond what you could function through any service department, even with multi-quick changes, oils, which never seems to be that quick inside car dealerships. It somehow turns into 2 hours when it should be, 45 minutes to an hour. But I look at, there's just so much deeper opportunity that these guys, like I think anyone in retail right now is going to have to dig in, figure it out, and, work through the changing game.
I think it goes back to, I reckon it to back in the day when I first started selling inventory management. I used to walk in a store and they look at me like I got 2 heads. Inventory, what are you talking about, inventory management? I bought that red car, I sold the red car, and I sold it pretty fast, and I made some money, so I went and bought another red car. Well, that was their inventory management. But then once you start looking at the data, they start to change. The same way as, what do you mean buy a wholesale car online? Are you out of your mind? I'm not gonna, if I can't kick it, touch it, smell it, feel it, I ain't buying it. I think we're seeing that whole change. I wish I could give the credit where it's due. I was reading somewhere on the Facebook page today, one of the used car Facebook pages. Guy said, would you rather be known as a great car guy or a great businessman? And that really hit me, because I think that's the change that we're kind of going through in the retail side anyway, and wholesale side of the auto industry, because you just can't do what you used to do. You can't just go to the auction and buy the car and then sell the car. You got to be all across the board looking out for every department of your dealership and taking advantage of it. It's different. And
you got to take the emotion out of it somewhere. You know what I mean?
100%. It's not my. That's absolutely, because you were in the retail. I booked the car in, I appraised it, I booked it in, and daggone it, it's worth $10,000. I don't care how many people tell me it's worth $8,000.
Right. Well, or even worse, if somebody's coming in the door and you hit them at 8 and the car's worth 10 and you let them leave.
Oh,
and it's like, come on, man! Like, you just
how many save a deal meetings did you have, Christopher?
$5,000,
I hated those.
I mean, it's like, stop, just stop. Just
when you have a lot of save a deal meetings, you're messing up, because you're just customers are blowing out. Like, if you have that many save a deal opportunities, they think that, like,
they beat their chest about having a $9,000 deal on a $17,000 car. You're like, come on, man! Like, that means you just missed 20 deals for me. If you're out there, if you're the only person trying to buy cars on my point, you're missing cars everywhere. And taking that emotion out of it and automating whatever you can to this level. The data's out there the software is out there, the intel is out there, and everyone's trying to go beat down this door. And so the leaning into some of these tools, and some of the ones that have been around for a long time, and some of them that are new ones, like obviously, Todd and I both have companies that are out there trying to go do this right now at a really high level. And we let guys make their own vehicle value with dials. So that's what they do, and they go turn them into algorithms and go push it out to all the guys on the drive. We're seeing some success with that, as you guys have seen. You know what I mean? And we're not the only ones. The guys that are doing a good job with this and leaning into this are, we have one dealer that bought 90 cars over the last 60 days. It's just using just automating offers and making them more compelling. It's one thing to go out there and automate offers and then hit everyone $2,000 back of common sense and piss everyone off. But if you can get to the line and go and stay on that line and get above for the ones you want, and don't, if you're going to wholesale a car, it's okay. Wholesale it and make $500,000 and bid the car for that. You don't need to bid the car like you hate it, like it owes you money. You don't need to do that. You don't need to hit it with a brick, right? You don't need to hit it for 10 grand back a book because you don't like Land Rover Discovery. Oh, maybe that's the wrong one. But
yeah, well, everyone's taking those. So,
maybe you do need it every Land Rover Discovery. Sorry about that one. But
yeah.
If you dig into CarMax report, last year I looked at one of their quarterly reports, and they were averaging $1,000 a wholesale unit.
Well, guess what?
So this attitude of buying everything kind of pays off, doesn't it? I mean, just buy the car, right? I mean, I get it. It may not be the ultimate retail thing, but I think there's a lot of guys that take that money all day long and just just to buy cars off the street.
I think the other thing I don't see, but probably you have to think about it as, we look at sometimes like a used car manager, you'll look at one car and one transaction. But I think CarMax and these guys look at it like it's like a chain of depth where, okay, I got this car, which I'm not going to make money, but it got me the next car, which got me the next car. And I can string 9 VINs together and say I averaged across these 9 VINs deep $1,700. Yeah, I had one at $300 and one at $2,700. But when you start stitching that, I think that's a better economic understanding to build consistency when you're not trying to crush every single unit, right? And I think these guys have caught on to that. Now, they have scale, they can move inventory around, they have flexibility beyond, let's say, an average like 1 or 2 store operator. But groups that have 10 stores or above, they can operate in that frame where they can create that chain of VIN tracking to know that, oh, here's outputs. And I think these are the things we should think about more than, look, are you always going to hit every car right? Everyone probably sat in a used car manager seat on this, right? No way. You're going to miss. And a lot of times we'll miss poorly, and then, it sits and we don't want to sell it because, we're like, it's still worth that. And then you end up wholesaling it, 62 days later or whatever. But, you look at it at the end, I feel like turn is everything, especially with the rate of floor plan right now. Like, how do you create turn? And it's just speed, volume, and knowing that, okay, that transaction got me the next trade, that got me this trade, which got me a new car sale with a trade. Like, oh, and it was a good one. Like, all those things interconnect. And I think with AI, it can easily tell and create that pattern matching. I think these are the stories that are going to come out. And I think this is the new types of technology that are going to help these guys really become really efficient in that retailing process.
And the winners there, go ahead.
No, Mike, you.
The winners there, I see, I work with some of the large retailers, and, I see that they're utilizing a lot of data that is critical to catching those key points. Whereas in the past, you may have a lot of dealers that are utilizing some legacy or older pricing systems, which are hedging against what they don't know about the car. Well, nowadays you have information from the OEM and other providers, which tells you exactly what the car is, exactly what's on it. You're not going to miss those high value options. You're going to be able to bid higher than those that frankly don't know what the true configuration of the car is. You're going to have access to current market data that tells you how is this car moving in my market or in other markets where I can potentially move it, especially if you're a larger network retailer. You're going to have access to auction data to understand how it's moving in that channel. You're going to have access to even the personal information of the selling customer. You're going to be able to bid on any car that they have in their garage. You can hang not just one tag, but you can give them potentially quotes on everything else that they own. So and even monitor that over time so they understand the value of the car, how that translates to moving into something else into your inventory. And you even have remote diagnostic information now available from some OEMs. So you can check EV battery health, you can check other things on the car. And then the newer systems, especially those utilizing AI, will be able to crunch all that data in real time and put really good numbers and targets and recommendations on how to acquire that car from that customer at the right price.
Yeah, totally agree.
I was going to say AI. I heard AI twice tonight. And I also wrote down conversation killers and conversation starters. Which one is AI? Todd, I know you love talking about AI.
So look, I'm going to say AI to me, and I always try to, dealers don't care about AI. Dealers care about output. And to me, AI is like electricity. It's going to be pervasive in everything we do and touch. So right now, and I'll give you the smallest little example. Obviously, I grew up, I started selling cars in 1990, then the internet came out in 95. And remember, like, we would get on the internet, right? We would go dial up, we get on the internet. And I still have that habit. I have a 14-year-old. I'll say, hey, I got to get online. And my son looks at me like I have four heads. Like, what do you mean you got to get online? Like, everything, dude, Dad, it's on the TV, it's on your phone, it's on the iPad, it's on your computer. You're not getting online. You're just online. And I'm like, you know what? I think it's the same when we look about like AI. We're like, oh, AI is like a product. AI is not a product. AI is a pervasive thing that's going to power lots of functionality. And honestly, we've had it for many years. We just didn't really call it AI. It was machine learning. There's still algorithms powering tons of relational data tables. Like, this stuff has been around. Now, it's gotten fancier with LLMs that have opened up the models to be able to do really cool new things. But I think the biggest thing is, I try not to talk too much about AI. I know it's in our name, but it's in our name because of value set, where, we want to use technology to just power what we're building. And, as I said, it's like electricity. I look at it that way. So I'm kind of a not like AI, but I like the possibilities of what these new technologies can deliver in value.
Well, Todd, you tell your son, and I looked at it, that you don't have AOL in your email address. So you tell him, you can't take that, right? You're good.
Yeah. But you know what? How many dealers do you still know that have either AOL, Hotmail, or Yahoo?
Outlook.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything Andrew DeFeo from St. Augustine Hyundai. Yes. So, okay. Yeah, so like there's so many. Yeah. I'm like, wow, how do they even have them? I didn't even know you could get those accounts anymore. So they somehow still exist. But yeah, we don't get online anymore, and it's like so weird. So I feel like AI, we talk about it like it's separate, and it's really not. It's a pervasive thing. So
I like the idea that I explain it the same way as electricity whenever I was explaining to my wife, because we've built a whole bunch of stuff on it, like almost like as a side gig for a little bit to start off with, just to kind of see how it works, a couple years ago. And we built a nonprofit on it, and it is a directory of free services for people in need. And we built it with AI, porting in AI and a whole bunch of search engines into it, and it went global like instantly. Like it's a global solution. Like right now, you can go find free food in Rio right now. Like it's incredible. Like that didn't exist before, right? Like it wasn't something that was available, and now it is. And so if you want to go make a really cool chandelier, right? Go make a really cool chandelier. You don't have to figure out how to make the electricity. Just plug into it, and it'll light up, and it's incredible. We've made a whole bunch of really fun products, and I suggest if you don't, like, just try it. There's so much low code, no code stuff out there now that you can just start tinkering with it and playing with it yourself. There's the entire development software, all of that stuff is going to go slowly away, and it's going to be AI solution architects. These are the guys that are going to be doing everything. They're stitching together a whole bunch of solutions and making efficiencies. That's really what it is now. It's not making we're not making core models here whenever we're doing it. No offense for the core, but like, we're not making these developmental models, right? Like, we're also not creating electricity, man.
But AI scares some people. Maybe electricity scared some people the way AI scares some people?
Well, listen, I think with
people got fried
Tesla and Edison was frying animals to prove that AC/DC current was more dangerous than DC current, right? So he was electrocuting things, and it backfired. And obviously, things went Tesla's way until Westinghouse got involved and took all his patents. But the true reality that fell into that, you look at it like it was the same battle. But look, AI, people just haven't used it, and I think what we're seeing in media is shock value. It's Terminator. Robots are taking over the world. Everything's going to be bad. It's going to take away jobs, But the real reality, I look at it, it's going to make jobs better. It's going to make jobs easier. It's going to replace redundant work that we don't like to do anyway. It's going to make us smarter, faster, more efficient. I think anyone on this call, or video that's using AI, you're probably using it, then you're getting more productivity out of yourself. Like, it's crafting an email template for you, or it's, hey, give me some questions I should ask this dealer, or here's some information about them. You could throw that in a ChatGPT or Claude, man. It's going to give you back pretty decent stuff. And, with a little prompt engineering, you can have real value out of these applications.
Okay, so prompt engineering is
today.
Where really it's at today.
Yes. So today it's prompt engineering. Tomorrow it's agentic, like it's agents, right? They're going to build. If you watched the CEO of Microsoft's recent thing, he basically is like, SaaS is dead. And it's hard. I'm surprised he said that, because he has an entire suite of SaaS products, Word, Excel, everything. And even he came out and said, they all have a shelf life, and those will be gone. But you look at it that, if you can build these agents to do certain tools for us, like, if you look at a used car, since we're talking about used cars, let's look at a used car manager's appraisal process, right? Let's break it down, like in steps. With step one, what's he going to do? He's going to go on MMR, right? He's going to look and book it out and see what's similar running. He may go on Car Gurus, and also see what's in market to try to price it. He's going to look in Vauto. He's going to look in ClearCar. He's going to look at all his tool set. The real reality is they are steps that can ultimately be automated one at a time. They won't happen immediately, but each one of them is a lever that someone will build an agent to go do that particular task and bring me back. And if I trust that truth, do it a few times, I'm going to just accept that then. And what I'm going to do is speed that appraisal that takes 15, 20 minutes to 10 minutes to 5 minutes to 20 seconds. It's like an F1 pit stop. What was it like? In 1990, it was like 10 or 12 seconds. Now it's 1 second. So you feel in just a number of years, look what they've been able to do. And I think it's the same thing. They're just going to use AI as a lever to do that.
I think the speed thing is the key. Like, it will speed up everything we do in the industry. I liken it to math. Like, it's just strings of algorithms put together but you still have to make sure the algorithm is right. Meaning, the first time you use one and you see something funny. One of the tech folks did a picture of a Christmas background at a car lot, and at first glance, like, man, AI like painted that. That's pretty cool. But then as you kind of get closer and start looking at it, it's like, does that customer have the face of a gorilla? Why does the customer have the face of a gorilla? So it didn't know it knew a little, it knew a lot. Yeah. It didn't know everything, right? So it still made but the next time you do that, it won't. It'll be the face of a giraffe or something. I don't know, but it's not. It has to learn, right? That wasn't right, but then it won't ever make that mistake again.
That's the key. Humans, we tend to make mistakes again and again and again.
I don't know. I spent a whole bunch of time on Sora trying to figure out a way to make an actual video that works, and it only gets you like 95% of the way there. I have not been able to figure out a way to actually get something that I can use anywhere other than for my own entertainment yet. But yeah. I want to talk to you about the agentic AI, the multi-agentic AI platforms. You know, we created our own and started messing around with it and doing some cool stuff with it. One of the things that we did is our own content generation platform where you can create a panel like this and have all the experts from an industry and go research them and have them argue with each other about viral topics. So we created this whole thing. So we have different agents for each one of these things. One of them goes out and finds the viral topics. One of them goes out and finds who the experts are in a certain area. The other one goes and scrapes all of YouTube and grabs all of the data and then puts it in and then grabs the comments and then starts talking about the comments and figuring out sentiment analysis on the comments. So you put it all together and then you actually have like a persona that's like Todd, right? Or like Mike. And then you can have them start arguing. And it's been a lot of fun. Again, like some of these things are like for my own entertainment. Like, so I do all of that so that I can keep abreast with all the stuff that we're talking about in the used car market, right? So I did all of that and turned it into an audio file so I can listen to it every day. And so there's a lot of really cool use cases that are on the edge right now where ML and Gen AI is combining with subject matter experts. That's where all of everything is getting made. At the very forefront of having super smart people, generative AI and machine learning, pulling all that together, and it's just expanding a little bit at a time. And once it's in there and it's right, you're going to move forward and you have a really cool knowledge base. And whether you're doing that with an industry or whether you're doing that for your company, you know, it's pretty cool. We're doing I'm going to a conference on Sunday for life sciences. It's biotech. And so we're making one for a law firm right now, a website that does automated legal for the biotech industry. So we have a whole bunch of subject matter experts. We have doctors and attorneys and scientists that we're plugging into these models, and then we're creating legal forms and all kinds of valuations for businesses. That is the coolest stuff ever whenever you kind of put those things together and then really focus on what you're trying to get out of it.
Well, there you go, Jay. There's the future of ATI channel right there.
Well, yeah. You know, I won't say I wasn't thinking about that, but
yeah, Jay, you're just gonna get cloned.
I know. Well, I believe
you have enough video content.
I've already
right
clocked
now.
out. Actually, I'm not even here. This is AI.
Yeah.
So, you know, I heard this compelling. I'll just say this. We're gonna detour for a second here. I heard this compelling conversation between two AI, figuring out that they were AI or something, and I thought it was really clever, but I didn't care long enough to continue listening. Why? Because I didn't know who they were? Because I knew they were AI? I don't know what it is. I wasn't really ready to continue listening. And it made me think about the nature of content. So maybe we'll get to that point, but just kind of like these walk before run things. Not that anyone said that tonight, but I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know if we're ready, like me as a person. I don't know if me as a person is ready to listen to a panel of AI talk for an hour. I don't think I'm.
It depends if you know it's AI or not, right?
Yeah, that's the key.
I think there's the key.
Know?
Right?
Don't
and
tell
right now
me.
We see, look at image creation on Google, and if you type in any images, so many of them are AI generated. You might not even know. There's probably, and it's only increasing. And I think we're going to enter this time soon where it's going to be, you know, AI video is still pretty, you can tell like here, mouth, like ears, like
Yeah,
this car
gorilla
is
face.
not. It's
Yeah,
just
like
not
like drawing.
perfect
It's
yet.
it's still the hard
Like,
things, right?
Yeah, like hand movements, if they get a little glitchy. You don't look like Max Headroom, if you remember Max, but you still, like, it's still not perfect. I think in another year, you won't be able to tell the difference. And I think at that point, then it's going to get a little scary because we won't know what's real or not real.
Right.
We're going to end in this weird blended thing, and are big companies, the government, going to force them to say this was AI generated, right? Because you already see this.
Oh, that's totally going to happen.
It's already happening on
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok.
Right.
You have influencers and live shows that are completely AI. I just saw an AI bot that it was an AI bot that was created. It self-serves. It created its own cryptocurrency, and the bot is worth $18 million right now. And here the challenge is, because the guy who created the bot's like, the bot, it's not me. So, because they're not like, who do you tax? You can't tax a bot. It's not an entity. It's not even real. But the bot is worth $18 million. So it was one of the first actually completely autonomous agents to become a millionaire. And it did it in months. And that's even the scariest. Like, we work lifetimes to get there. This thing did it in months. And, these are those interesting, look, we're as many awesome things we're going to have as many challenges and problems because of this tech. So.
Which, when I think of car dealers, I think that's where the hesitation comes in, right? Because we were just talking about it earlier. Hey, somebody's trying to pull one over on me, right? So I think, what I see from our dealer clients is, if you can have it create efficiencies and jobs to be done better, faster, where I don't have to have a person at each different store doing the same task, redundancy we talked about earlier. I think they're pretty excited about that part of it. When you start getting beyond that, it's going to take a little time for them to warm up to, is it, truly giving me the insights that I can bank on, because there's a lot of mistrust from them in a lot of those activities.
Here's what
I think data alone is mistrusted. Didn't Cox come out with a report that said dealers don't trust any of the data in their own reporting? Like, it was like a crazy thing, and I was like, well,
I totally relate with it.
do you really trust your DMS reports, or do you extract it, run it through Excel, build freaking 30 pivot tables, get some other table, and then you still hand sort half the data because you're like, nope, I want to go back, pull this deal. I want to actually look at my pink sheet against this one. Like, we do that all the time because we are not trusting the data. And I feel like there has to be a point where that's going to have to change over. We'll have to have more confidence. But will it be the tech that does that, or I don't know.
I think competition will do it. I think ultimately it'll be competition that does it. You'll get forced into doing it. You're not going to do it because you like it or want to. You'll have just the nails, like, just dragged on the ground, like, popping off because some of these guys don't want to do it. But the reality is, if you don't want to get if you don't want to get beat, then they will do it because they're the most hyper competitive industry in the planet. So what's going to make it happen is that they'll want to win. And that will make them do it. Look,
I feel the only way you win is operational efficiency, because at the end, selling cars cheaper than your competition, would any of us say you're probably not going to really win there? You're going to have win losses. You're going to go neutral. You acquiring more inventory than any of your competition? Probably not. You getting better allocation? You're getting very incremental gains on those things. But when you flip it and look inward, and you go, well, how can I go from 70 employees to 60 employees and operate at the same scale? Because that, if you think about it, average dealer payroll is about $5.5 million. So if I can take 10% out of it, I can put $500,000 in my pocket, and that's not even taking a lot out. It's taking 10%. Like, you start thinking about that. That is where the game is going to be played. It's how do you
the other side to that, though, Todd, I think is the same but opposite is, do you have enough people? Like, we always think as dealers, we're always trying to cut back. It's like, how can I beat my payroll down to as low as I possibly can? Well, the AI, you start to look at these, it's like, why do you not have 6 more salespeople? Why do you not have 3 more service writers? If you did, I think where we're going to go I'll look at the data and it will tell me if you want a 10% close ratio, you want to increase your close ratio by 10%. What do you got to do? Well, if you need X amount of leads, you need X amount of time to answer those calls. It will eventually give us the answers, but right, and it could be more people instead of less. But that builds efficiency because now we're not missing any deals. We're not hustling people through the service drive. We're selling every car gets a set of windshield wiper blades, and we don't miss anything because we may need more. We may need more, not less, but we'll know what we need to be efficient.
I think a headline that I can throw out here that will confirm the direction we're going with this whole operational efficiency is, we saw from 2021 to 2023 over 2,000 buy sells take place. Now, guess what? Those weren't just individual buy sells. Those were groups buying groups, getting bigger, consolidation. First quarter of 24 was the largest buy sell activity on record. They're looking to scale operations, right? It's that simple. And so I think that opens them up to more technology to help them reduce staff and not do redundant jobs to be done across multiple stores. So I think that's going to play a huge part in it, because what do? They look at the disruptors in these organizations and how they've been able to scale and get efficiencies, and dealer groups are going, we're going to do that too. So I think that bodes well for this type of technology.
It's interesting because at JD Powers last year, so 2 things I would bring out of that. One, JD Powers last year put the average two-store dealer and then the Publix. And believe it or not, profitability was sub 1% different net profit. So these big groups do not have operational efficiency because the little guy with 2 stores was virtually competitive. So, and I look at this and I always go, right now, we are fighting the constraints of our tech and operation, right? So we have to throw more people to make the tech we have work. If you take the Elon Musk approach and rip it all the way back to first principles, we may see a whole new approach to doing certain jobs, tasks that kind of reinvent what we're doing. Because think about it, look, we're humans. Humans are inherently brain lazy. We hate change, and we don't like change, especially in automotive, unless it's guaranteed. And though dealers will try and nip and stuff, but they'll go right back. They'll revert. And I can prove it because COVID, every dealer, and prove me wrong, every dealer had DR and was doing DR. And the second they could open their doors, they're like, DR what? No, come on in, folks.
Good point.
Reverted instantly back. Yet that was more efficient. They went right back to what they were used to, comfortable with, and believed was a better practice. And I think the big operators have to go, oh, they're also using the legacy technology in a lot of cases. But I've seen some of the public start to go, they're building their own stuff. So they're building infrastructure to kind of figure out, like, okay, we need to be better and more operationally efficient. Because I look at Harvard, I love Harvard Business Review. If you guys read it, it's kind of, super nerdy, but they did a cool study of Fortune 1000 companies, and they put tracking software on all their computers. And they tracked how many clicks through tools they use during the day and switching screens and all. And believe it or not, when you switch a screen, you have a couple seconds. It's called ocular reorientation. Your eyes have to change, then realize what I'm looking at, and then go, oh, and they continue the journey. So in this study, they realized in Fortune 1000 companies, they were spending an average of 5 weeks per year just clicking. No work being done, just clicking between systems. That's the efficiency type stuff that has to be cleaned up. And that's where AI could do a lot in the back. And but this is very interesting because it's a collapse between humans and technology to be able to be more efficient. But yeah, it's super interesting. I love this nerdy stuff.
Ocular what? Ocular what?
It's called ocular reorientation. So as I'm looking at something, now I'm looking at something else, and it takes me a second. It takes me a couple seconds. That's how human brains work, man. It has to go to your, they showed you, dude. It has to go to your retina, and it goes back, and it bounces off, and like, it was so nerdy. I just ate it up.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So keep that in your pocket. Be like, hey, I think we have too much ocular reorientation going on. Maybe
I'm gonna
change the
UX. My next
use that in my next
that's coming
meeting.
out.
All right,
Yeah, just
slow down.
guys.
Too much
Let's slow down on the
orientation.
screen change. It's causing too much ocular
Less
reorientation.
ocular.
They had, there was, kind of back to the idea that I think that one of the big things that generative AI is going to help us with is the fact that the technology meets you where your language is, right? So wherever you're done typing in something, it will meet you there. And a perfect example is this. There's a study that just came out that showed that patients communicating directly their symptoms directly into AI gave back better diagnosis than when a doctor did. So doctor put the same put the same symptoms into AI and got back a diagnosis. The diagnosis with the patient without the doctor involved came back more accurate. So what does that tell you? You know what I mean? Like, again, this is the same thing. Obviously, it's more of a fine point because it's an enormous study. But car guys are the same way. Used car guys are the same way. Like, we get a feeling about something. Doug, you said it before. Like, I sold a red car, I got another one, right? Like, the reality is that. And then Patrick, you said, like, CarMax has made $1,000 per used car for the last 20 years. By the way, like, they figured this thing out, man. Like, it's been like that. Like, the reality though is that there's no emotion in it, right? And if you can take some of the emotion out of this deal and make it so it's just a commodities trade, and take, hey, we just got burned on a Honda Civic on my front line because I'm a Toyota store, and just say, hey, listen, at 30-day market day supply and a daily sales rate of 20 per day in my market, I just need to go ahead and try it. The car's gonna sell, right? Like, I don't care if you're a Toyota store, go put it out front, and the car's gonna sell. Go make some money on it. Get over yourself. Like, the reality is that if you can take all of that other stuff out of the way, that's where the efficiency is. It's us versus ourselves in a lot of ways. And that's where a lot of the profit margin, everything else that you can do, where you can actually put, because it's not just the tech, it's all the processes that are around that get to, like Todd was saying, they all have to get thrown away because you have something new that works so much faster and more efficient. You have to react to that. It doesn't mean that everyone loses their job. It means everyone has to do something a little bit different in order to make it better.
I want to run something past you because I've been thinking about this, and then I've heard a few things that made me know that this is time. We're prompting the AI, but the AI is going to be prompting us, right? We look at the data, but when is the data going to look at us? So in the efficiencies category, when are we going to get a device or whatever, and maybe it is, it's a Mr. Smith earbud, and it is letting us know that as we move through our day, hey, actually what you should probably do right now, why don't you set that down and take a look at this? Or you're talking to a customer, hey, why don't you ask them this? Actually, this would be a great time to do this. And now it's turned from, we're now seeking information to where we're getting real-time AI suggestions on what we should be doing.
Like a tighter
the cost
feedback.
is going to have to dramatically come down to do that.
Tighter
It's super
feedback.
expensive.
You can do it in glasses right now, right?
Yeah.
Where there's a whole bunch of different companies that are out there right now that can give you identification of objects and stuff like that, and either can talk to you about what it is or show you right on your clear glasses, like what Todd's got, right? Like, you can see in it right on the glasses and be able to do that. There is some, but you're right. Like, it's going to be a whole bunch of guys out there messing with it and trying to figure out a way to be able to solve it for the car guy, the guy that's the brand new salesperson that's out on the point and she's just getting crushed. and being able to talk to, what do I say next?
Especially somebody inexperienced.
Right. Yeah. Some new, just new
Where
person.
the AI goes,
I don't want to come
whoa.
inside. Oh, but
Don't say that again. Don't do that.
Do my
Here's what
gesture.
here's what you're really right. Like it'd be Doug AI. No. Here's what you really should be doing right now. Patrick AI. No, look at this. Ask him this.
Yeah, I think it's that reversal of what should I do? It goes back to what I said a little bit earlier. So what activities do I need to do to get done what I need to get done? We think a used car manager. Well, I'm gonna pencil the first. I'm gonna give them a quick pencil because I'm gonna look out and I'm gonna look at their car. I'll put a number on it through the window. Give them a quick pencil. Let them get up on the ceiling. I'll peel them down, and then I'll walk out there, and then I'll walk around the car, and then I'll say things like, "Oh my God, did you let your family drive this car here, or did you tow it?" All the things that we used to do that we can't do anymore, but we think that is the way to do it. I think the AI will help us make that much more efficient. It will definitely tell us not to give them a first pencil on half of what the car's worth, but it will tell us to do the things that will help us, not the things that will push the deal backwards.
And it'll say, Doug is a hardened car guy. Do not first pencil him at 50% of value, wholesale value. at least give him 82%, which we know is Doug's threshold for just a light yell at you, but his blood pressure won't raise more than 10 versus taking him into acceleration mode.
Exactly. Hey, my fear is that your statement's gonna this is gonna in recorded now, and all these sales training consultants are gonna go back and say, "This is where Jay brought my whole industry down."
Really? It was in 2025? I
going into dealerships doing sales training, and you just can replace them all.
You're giving away somebody's secret sauce right now.
They just wiped off an entire industry. Just
There's thousands of those guys out there that are doing sales training in dealerships.
I do not authorize. I am not authorizing. This is a.
Think about what that looks like today. What it looks like, when I was doing it a couple years back, but what it looks like today. What's it going to look like in 10 years? Will there be somebody that actually has to go walk around the car? I mean, today we use technology. We have the customer go do it themselves. Take your phone. Here's a thing. Click here and walk around your car. We'll tell you what it's worth.
Right.
I mean, we're almost already there.
Right.
I feel we're getting there. I mean, look, Christopher, you were talking about medical before. I mean, if you look at PET scans today, AI is more efficient in finding anomalies than humans, by far.
Yeah.
I mean, it's finding more cases of emerging cancer. It's finding more cases of tumors than humans. And listen, that's going against the best doctors. And looking at millions of scans, AI has just become more efficient. And, it's just when AI becomes more price efficient, right? And it continues, right? It's following the law of doubling power. Costs are going down dramatically for token use. But I mean, even NVIDIA's Project Digits, right? They're building a AI computer that you can buy.
Oh my gosh, I was reading about this thing today.
Yeah. So all my guys are
Cloud,
pre-order
Gorgon, I don't know what it is. Is it harder to impress people now?
Well, I was more impressed with Google's quantum computer release that it showed. On my Willow, I was like, oh, Willow can process more data in 5 minutes than it would take a normal, all the normal computers combined, 4 billion years. And you're like, well, that's just scary to think. It is
scary to think.
And their fear was, oh my God, this thing's going to start exceeding human level intelligence and understanding by being able to approach physics and math and science in ways that we're just not there yet. It most likely is going to get past us at a point. I would say 10 years. Maybe it's sooner, maybe it's longer. But in the end, as the faster computer power gets and the more energy that we'll have to resource to it, because that's why, the talk is going back nuclear, because they need the energy. Because these things are just energy hogs.
But I want to teleport you for a second. We're having these conversations. We're in the hall at NADA. And then you walk up to a booth and somebody wants to get remedial. This is a problem.
Well, look, I think the vast majority of people that walk in the NADA hall, so that are car dealers grinding it out, they don't have time to do the research and like spend tons to figure it out. They're gamblers. I was when I had my Chevy store. I feel like, we'll throw money at things. We'll give it a shot. Some things work. If it works naturally, doesn't require a huge process change at the store, doesn't require a lot of human interaction to make it work, and we get value from it, we'll tend to keep those things. But a lot of this new technology is not baked. It's not efficient. And it takes time to work through those things. And I think we're seeing a lot of that with AI. Like I posted something about a chatbot today that performed terribly, I felt. And I think the guys who had the chatbot were mad. But in the end, I don't build chatbots. I just said, we go on the internet as a consumer, you expect a level of experience. And if the first thing you say is, I can't give you that information unless you give me your name and phone number, I find that offensive. But again, that's me. Maybe an average consumer doesn't, but that to me is like walking in this store and be like, hi, Doug, nice to meet you. Doug, I need your phone number and I need your name, and then I'll go out and show you a car. We wouldn't do that. We would just say, hey, what's your name, Todd? Great to meet you. And then I'd forget your name by the time we walked outside anyway. And then I would have to re-ask you, please write your name down here. And I'd be like, oh, that's Doug. So I think that was the average, car guys, probably still in the business today. And again, I look at these things where we need to be looking at the internet as how do we erode and make better experience, and because that draws people in. I think if you build trust on the internet, but you deliver the value in the showroom, and I think that connection has to happen. And I just don't see it in a lot of does anyone like automotive websites?
Yeah, they're terrible. Yeah.
But is anyone going to say automotive websites would win any award except maybe the Wayback Machine, 1995? It would win an award if we were judging in 1995 today's websites. It would win an award then.
No, why? Because we're impatient. We have high expectations. Why?
Because we compare what we're doing to everything else we're doing. And when we get into car flow, it all of a sudden gets incredibly complex, hard to navigate. There's lots of moving parts. Yet when we do other things like, pay a quick bill online or shop at Target online or Walmart, it's easy. Amazon. So our brains don't know the difference. Is this
why Amazon's going to wreck it?
I don't know if Amazon wrecks the car business. Honestly, I think a lot of it's farce. I don't think Amazon wants to be in the car business. I think Amazon is training itself to be in the ad business and absolutely destroy the whatever auto spends a year in ad sales, which is billions of dollars, that is currently going to Google and Facebook. I think Amazon wants it. And I think this is their way to figure out how to get it. So
what about auto logistics? Do you have an opinion on that? Auto logistics, Amazon?
That them distributing cars?
What
all they're doing is, listen, if you go on, you go through the experience. It's actually interesting. All they do is they send you into the store, and you still have to do everything at the store level. So it's, as I said, it's not, they're using A to Z Sync as the kind of quasi platform, and then they drop you into the store. And, you can only do a new car. You can't trade a car. So it's.
No, you can trade a car.
But that's new then. So
you can definitely trade a car. I tried them all.
Then they just added that piece. So again, it's still very new how they're doing it. But I think
the reason behind it is that's just a fee generating, but it's not really a lead. It's a done deal. I think that's the difference, right? There's all the third party generators. Oh, click here, click here, click here. People go to Amazon. They don't go to they go to buy. I don't spend a lot of time. I look for it's it's the mail thing maybe, but I go hunting. I hunt quickly. I find it. I kill it, and I put it in the make sure it goes in and gets delivered that day. So
34% of people who go to Amazon purchase. I don't know why I know this, but
that's through their panel at Used Car Week, and if they probably said it 5 times during the panel that, hey, we have 250 million unique visitors come to Amazon a month or something. That was their value proposition. We have 250 million unique. You know what I mean? It's like we have the traffic. We bring all those people there, and then that was what, they had a couple of dealer groups up there that are, working with them again on the new car program or whatever, and so that was what they were pushing up there, and it was rather intriguing. So
well, they also have the trust.
Yeah, well,
Correct.
of course they have because one thing Amazon does different than auto. Amazon is about customer experience first at all costs, and they'll lose to win long term. Auto doesn't really do that, right? We need to win on every transaction, and it's kind of a different philosophy. And I feel
we have another big player do the same thing like a year ago, like Microsoft Autos. Is that still alive? Is that a thing?
They already killed it. And honestly, that was more just another lead gen yet again.
Right, but I mean,
and we can go all the way back to
that
CarPoint.
much different. You know what I mean? The reality is, it's not that easy to break into automotive. You know
Well,
what I
look,
mean?
I think everyone has
Going
been
to-
circling it,
We'll
right?
see.
Amazon.
So are we going to
We'll see.
see? Are we going to
Microsoft?
finally see the wall?
We're going to see the wall.
Is this
I
Amazon's
predict
wall?
it's going to see the wall. I think
Whoa.
that you're going to see it just similar to how Microsoft came in and busted into Used Car Week a year ago and started flexing and talking about their traffic. And day one, they had 500 million people. Like, it was just, and we're going to do it because we're Microsoft, right? Like, over and over and over again. And, where are they this year? You know what I mean? Less than 12 months, they're gone. Like, and they spent a ton
Apple
of
couldn't do a car,
putting
huh?
it together, right? And they're on
Apple
focus,
killed
the
the car.
second biggest search engine in the world, right? Like, and they got nothing now.
I think it boils down to this. How emotional do you get when you buy a spatula on Amazon? How much of an emotional buy?
Doug, I get really pumped up. After
Me
reading
too.
700 reviews, I need to know, is this a stick-free?
Doug, I think you
How's
got
it
a
gonna
new
go in my
educational
dishwasher?
session.
Yeah, come on, Doug.
But it's an emotional purchase. It's not a spatula. It's not a widget. It's an emotional purchase. It's a big deal. And I think that's why the Microsofts of the world struggle with that.
Well, Microsoft tried twice. Well, they were CarPoint first in the 90s.
Yeah.
Failed on that. Then they were going to build a DMS, but they weren't really the builder. It was another company licensing Microsoft's name, and that crashed. That went to NADA and died. Then Dominion licensed and partnered. They took John Reed, came from Microsoft, to build a DMS and CRM at Dominion. They spent $40 million, didn't build one. John went back to Microsoft. Microsoft has come back in for the used car with their Microsoft Autos and instantly exited, because also it's not just, there's already too much crowd in third-party leads. If we look at, again, breakout of auto, you don't have 4 or 5 major players. You have 1, 2. So we have Cars, Car Gurus, Auto Trader, we have all these kind of splitting up, and there's just not enough money. And I feel like a deeper consolidation, there should be 1 or 2 of third-party kind of lead things, and then you'll see different things. But honestly, I feel Amazon is going to gobble up the ad money at a high rate of speed, because they can. And that's, if you look at their model and look at their financials, that's their gravy train. It's AWS, and then it's advertising, and they finally spun it into something real. And I think this gives them an incredible understanding and experimentation into the behavior of how people buy cars. And once I learned that, guess what I know how to do? I know how to market to you.
Good one. Yeah.
Whoa.
We'll see.
So the
behavioral data.
computer is going to take over the world and launch the missiles, and it's over for us humans.
Yeah.
That's what I
Just
just
practically Greenland. Okay. All right. I know we've been here a while, and I'm loving it. And okay, so I either want to talk about advice for noobs at NADA, or what are you afraid of?
The advice would be really good shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wear sneakers. Do not wear expensive leather shoes that
Don't do
get
it.
horribly
Don't do it.
hard during the day. Yes, and because
Crocs.
and
Crocs.
yeah, I feel like smart boosts have double carpet, but so you look for boosts with double carpet.
You see that car now has foot massagers.
Yeah, but if you really want to take off your shoes, it's kind of awkward.
Oh
But you take off your
yeah,
shoes
come
airplanes.
on.
I'm just
let's
take off.
talk about the best gimmick I've ever seen. The best gimmick I have ever seen was the IV nurses.
Genius.
So the guys would come in. They come in with a hangover, sit down in lounge chairs and get pumped up. I was like, I got in line. What are you gonna do besides get in line?
Hey, you gotta have a brown badge for that one.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah,
well,
so
seriously, I recommend.
And this goes right through, if you guys can see.
What does he got?
So this is when you walk into New Orleans. It's ranked number one in liver transplant.
Liver transplant.
When you walk into the airport.
And then the band starts to play.
Because I'm like,
and the
are they
Saints.
really advertising liver transplant in the city that drinks hurricanes? I was like, this is genius.
It's on the banner behind the band. They carry
Yeah, it's crazy.
Number one.
You look
So
at
that's your fear is the liver transplant? You said, what do you fear?
Yeah, I fear it. Yeah, you look at look, NADA is a great time. I think it's great to cruise around. You get to meet lots of people, lots of cool technology, lots of good conversations with other people. I think it's an amazing networking event. The first and foremost.
Hurricane limit 1.
Yeah, right.
How about that, right? There's good advice.
I will give you my first NADA story, which you'll laugh. So everyone remembers Joe Girard, like the #1 sales guy in the world, right? Wrote the book, etc. Okay, Joe was speaking at NADA. Main thing, I grew up next to 2 big auto dealers, so they took me to NADA. So this is the only reason I got to go when I was young. So it was Mr. Kerbeck and the Miller, Chip Miller. So I'm sitting next to him, and back then everyone dressed. So I had a suit on and tie. It was my brother, so it was way too big because my brother's like 2 inches taller than me, and I didn't have a suit. So, Mr. Gerard at the end, he's like, okay, anyone have questions? So I get nudged and it says, okay, ask him how many of the cars he sold were on A plan. I had no idea what this meant at the time. So I raised my hand, and they come over with the mic, young man, yes, I got you. And I stand up, and I was like, wow, that was a great presentation. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. I just have one question. How many vehicles out of this record-breaking year were on A plan? 400 people go, oh. I was like, what has happened? And it was so funny. Joe Girard looked at me and turned so red. He goes, son, that's a great question. I want to talk to you a little bit more about that. I'll tell you exactly how I did it. Any other questions? and I literally sit down, and oh my gosh, Mr. Kerbeck's dying laughing, Chip's dying laughing. They're like, ha ha ha. Everyone around me's laughing, had me. I'm like, oh, that was cool. I did not know what I did. I walk out the aisle. Here comes Joe Girard beelining to me. He goes, you think you're so smart, kid? And like hammers me. And until Mr. Frank got in front of him and said, dude, we put him up to it. He has no idea what it even is. And he says, this smart little kid. Oh my God, this was my first NAD. And literally the first event, I got screamed at and FU'd by Joe Girard.
By Joe Girard. That's a badge of honor, my friend.
That is kind of cool.
That's a very good story.
One of the best NADA was, I remember, I wasn't even working for Cox Automotive at the time, but Dealer.com had the most interesting man in the world, the Dos Equis guy. Remember, if it had the beard, was in the booth, and I got a picture with him, sent it to my kids. They thought I was a rock star.
Whoa. I got that too. I got one too.
There was a time when that guy was like every young person thought, I want to be like that guy.
Yeah, the deal. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah.
Very, very good.
I feel NADA
you lost
take
control,
it for all
buddy.
it's worth, right?
No, that's what I do. I launch. I'm like Tesla, I just launch it.
Yeah.
It'll just go in circles.
Right? Do you see? Okay, 2 in 1 week. Yeah, the Waymo in circles, and then the Tesla and the train. Let's talk AVs for a second.
The AI
What's
hasn't learned enough yet.
Oh.
That's really, think about that.
Need more AI in the AV?
More AI. It won't hit another train ever again, I can guarantee it. And that one car won't go around in circles 20 times ever again. That's the crazy part about it.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
I remember John, when he was running, when it was Google car, showing me the modeling, and the Google car had locked up because a brown like Publix, like shopping bag flew by the car, and the car indistinguishably didn't understand, like it thought it was a dog or deer or something, so it stopped, while a human would have known it's a bag, I can run right through it without damaging the car, impacting myself. And I think there's a million of those lessons that have to be learned on the road, and it comes from experience. And only so much can be learned. Like, there has to be real drive. I know they run tens of thousands of miles overnight in simulation, but it's not the same. I think real road experience is still the frontier.
I'm going to come clean on this then. When I read those articles, I actually didn't think it was that big of a deal. I did a bit of a play there. Like, okay, it's a weird story. Some people are going to like freak out and be like, oh my God. But I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Now, the railroad tracks one is unfortunate, right? More than unfortunate. Going around in circles is a pain. Yeah. But a railroad track is a little more than unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a little scary.
Yeah. So I thought the railroad track one, and what's weird is you can drive down a road over a metro rail track, I don't know what, a trolley track, and everything's cool. Unless you're walled in, then it's not so cool. So the guy did a good job. Actually, that guy taking over autopilot, running a red light, and doing whatever he did, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, got through it.
There was a lot of other stuff, and I know it's getting late. This has really been a great panel. I don't want to hold you guys anymore, but I know that NADA is such a big deal. Is there anything else that that any of you wanted to make sure you shared about NADA? Speculation, truth, fact, booth, products, education.
Well, it's New Orleans, Acme Oyster Company. You should probably go there.
Barbecued oysters, Acme, absolutely.
Yeah. Acme is sit at the bar. There's a little horrible trough below it. You just can't beat it. Got to have a po' boy. So,
yeah.
Suffer the hurricane if you want, but watch the pickpocketers.
All right, what's your pickpocket advice? What should you do?
You never keep a wallet in your back pocket, that's for sure.
Jewelry off or whatever? I don't know.
Don't wear anything. They'll grip you and you won't even know it. So.
Wow.
If you like your Rolex, leave it at home.
Yeah.
So watch out for the pickpocketers. Limit your hurricanes. Acme oysters.
Comfortable.
And do your homework.
Yeah,
get to the NADA website. Understand the layout of the floor. It's a big, giant, slightly bent tube full of booths. If you have goals, if you don't overbook your meetings, save some time for the floor, save some time for moving around. The thing I fear most about is, in not having, allocated my time properly for the few days that I'm there. And so that'd be my, number one recommendation is to make the most of your time. Do a little pre-planning. Know who you want to see. Know who's important to sit down with. Give yourself some free time. And, of course, you got to know where the parties are.
But
someone put a website up.
Someone put a website up. You guys all have the best parties. We just got a penthouse at the Hyatt. Message me if you want to invite. You're all invited to come. Awesome. I know that your all of your parties are much cooler than ours, probably. All right, ours is more intimate, but you guys got some big ones going there. But you're all invited.
Thank you, Kris. And speaking of, I heard. What's the website? I heard about.
So there's
this.
a website that I think Asoto put out. It's called NADAparties.com. I'm looking at now. It has all the parties listed.
Yeah, I think they do that every year.
Yeah,
this is new for Asoto.
This is just new for them. I think they said this is the most downloaded app they've ever had.
NADAparties.com.
Yep, NADAparties.com shows.
All right.
Yeah, they said they had like 30 of them listed. I don't know. Yeah, it has a bunch. So.
Jay, you said newbie advice. Newbie advice is do not go hard Friday night. Just pace yourself.
Yep.
And don't be the guy, don't be the dealer on Sunday that's sweating profusely, smells like scotch, and he's trying to get to every single booth before the show closes down, because that's just not going to do you any good.
So here's
that should
advice
actually be
for
a character.
Okay,
lost
here's
somebody.
advice for the
We lost.
vendors that are probably listening and that are going to be going there. I've never seen anybody get promoted at NADA, but I have seen some get fired.
We lost one. We lost one last NADA. We lost one last. We're going too hard on Friday, man. Didn't make it. Didn't make the cut, man.
But you still have to go to parties. How do you not go hard, but you go to the parties? What do you do here? Just drink water? Do you have to limit your drinks? But know
if you
your
don't drink
limits.
alcohol, you got a much better shot. All right.
Know your limits.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah, know
If you
your
don't
limits.
drink alcohol,
Listen,
you have a lot better shot. That's all I got.
I've gamed it with club soda with a lime in it.
And you're in.
It's like I'm
I
drinking.
like this.
It's not
like
that
I'm
tough.
drinking,
Yeah,
but
just
I'm
don't
not
allow
drinking.
it.
Soda with a lime in it.
There
I
we
love
go.
that.
And a
You
little
know, I've never
straw,
done that.
I just put it in a rocks glass, and people are like, "Oh, Todd's drinking."
Love
No,
that.
A Diet Coke with a lime. Either one's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it
looks like
the
alcohol.
Todd.
no.
I'll have a Todd with lime, please.
It could be a glass of water with an umbrella in it, and you look.
Yeah, you're okay. Doesn't matter.
Right.
And just if you're drinking pure vodka, then you're just crazy or something, or tequila. So
And just like Vegas, the good rule of thumb is nothing good happens after midnight.
Oh,
good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah. And if you're on bourbon after midnight, it's not
Oh.
good.
Hey, question: is the convention center? Where's the location compared to Bourbon Street? That's what I'm trying to find.
Well, it's a hike. So
It is a hike.
most of the NADA hotels are going to be on Canal, and then it's a good a half mile plus to
Yeah, it's a
the
good little
convention
walk.
center from there.
Yeah,
It's
They
a
don't have
walk.
buses, so.
Yeah, they got their buses, and then right off Canal you have Bourbon, but it's on the other side of Canal. So there is a distance involved, but at least you can go from the from the conference to your hotel, do your change, and then you can head out and get some good food and have a little fun.
Fantastic food. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, oysters.
And make sure to go to.
Oh,
so
and the
you have to go to
beignet.
NADA, and then
gotta
you have to
get the
go
beignet.
to the Cox NADA because they have an entire side of
It's a
a
completely
giant
different
wing.
NADA, yeah, for sure.
You get lost inside
Cox
there.
Automotive Village. It's Village.
Oh, it's a village.
See,
Ah,
I used to call it City.
yeah. Now
No.
It's a village.
It's Cox Automotive Village.
I would have met Metropolis, but okay, we'll go.
I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I've been corrected.
Yeah.
But I like Village. It's nice.
Yeah. it's
So
cool.
go check it.
Patrick's just going, thank you.
Take a stroll through Cox Automotive.
And we have the thick carpet too. I will give you that. We do
Oh,
put
yeah.
extra thick padding
No
in
doubt.
there.
You got to invest.
That is
Invest in
really
it.
smart.
Gotta
Yeah.
have
And then you can keep your shoes on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need a foot massager.
Man, I was so sold on that idea until you pointed out the thing on the shoes.
Now listen, it's just like airplanes. You sit there and people start taking off your shoes. You're like, I wouldn't take off my shoes. So,
And then they
That's,
go.
well, that's why you got to wear Crocs
bathroom,
to the
like-
show.
That's
yeah.
This is exactly.
Listen, I feel like tennis sneakers work. Tennis sneakers, as a 50-some-year-old guy, seem to be the thing these days. It works. You don't have to wear alligator leather shoes or boots. Just wear some tennis sneaks. Roll it out.
Skechers slip on, they slip off.
Sure, whatever works for you. I just feel like be comfortable. You're going to walk a lot. I mean, you're going to walk a lot.
Any estimate? 5 miles?
A day, sure.
Yeah,
You could.
I-
if you work the booth.
Easy.
I
Yeah.
would watch my thing,
20,
but I
25
probably
thousand
average
steps.
somewhere between 15 and 20,000 steps a day
Yeah,
at those
for
events.
sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Easily.
Sure, that's
Vegas,
a couple of hurricanes right there.
Vegas is worse because you're just going to go to the casino right next door. I'll be right back, and you're 2 days later they're looking for you.
Oh, yeah.
Really farther than you.
To let you know that you've been promoted.
Yeah, it's right across the street. Yeah, it's right across the street, and you're walking because you're not only across the street, then it's through an entire experience, and then it's through another place, and there's a tiny restaurant way on the other side of the entire casino property, and you're like,
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it was worth it.
All right, so
Yeah.
what would you rather, Vegas or Bourbon Street? You're looking forward to Bourbon Street?
I feel like last time it was Bourbon Street, it was really cold. People
Yeah.
didn't get in because there was an ice storm, and then people
Or
couldn't
get out.
Yeah, it was both. But it was
Ooh.
really cold last time.
Okay, so January could be a factor. What's the temperature?
It was
60,
it was just
70?
It was a weird one. It iced everything over. The last day, everything froze up. I literally took an Uber to the airport, got the last rent-a-car before they closed it down, drove to Houston in a hail / snowstorm, and got on a plane there to fly back to Phoenix.
Yeah, I got out right before it went bad because I was flying east. So, and I was shocked. It was like, because I called my friends. They're like, "Oh, we're here till like Tuesday now." I was like, "Ooh, not good." So
I didn't get out till Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but a lot of there were a lot of people stuck. We all got together and huddled as refugees for a few days and made the most of it. There are a lot of people stuck for a long time.
NADA refugees. Huh.
Yeah, that's a new thing. Yeah, refugee camp. Yeah, but no, that's cool. So I mean, I guess you get to collaborate more, hang out, and you're always gonna make the best of it. But yeah, that was kind of a weird one. I just remember it was bone cold. I literally went and bought a jacket. I was that cold. Like I went to the department store. I was like dying because I'm from Florida, so my blood's thin these days. So.
I don't know if Vegas is just more familiar or what, but it just seems New Orleans is it's smaller. It seems like every restaurant is way more crowded, and it's New Orleans. It's just a different vibe, I think, than anything else. It's its own vibe for sure.
Yeah, it's a little older and dirtier.
Yep. If you do, and the only reason I was out at 3 o'clock in the morning because I was trying to track a few folks down, dealers by the way, not associates. I was trying to track a few dealers down we hadn't heard from for a while. They have trucks that drive down Bourbon Street at 4:15 I think it was, and they blow water. If you look at all the shops, all the bars, all the stores, they're brick or block or concrete about up to 3 feet. And when those trucks go down the street in the middle of the night, early morning, they shoot the pressurized water out right at that level. So it washes all the...
You got to get that sludge out of the street, man.
Oh, yeah. I always used to stay at the Royal Sinesta right there on Bourbon, which I always liked. I always thought it was a cool little boutique hotel, but I don't know, I've kind of moved off on the canal, so.
So the tip is, if you drop $1, let it stay there.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick up anything. I have no idea what you're getting.
Don't put it back in your pocket, whatever you do.
No, do not. Yeah, let it go. It's not worth it. It's not worth the tetanus shot that might come with it. So.
It's not worth it. All right, that's it. I want to thank everybody, Todd, Doug, Mike, Kris, Patrick. That was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for giving me so much of your time tonight. And for anybody that is, whether before the show, during, or after, maybe get snowed in, if there's an icy situation, or you get sprayed by the trucks in the middle of the night, this will give you something to do. You can listen to this podcast.
Yeah, you were up too late if you get hit by the water trucks.
You are getting promoted.
Yeah. Promoted to Indeed, and your next adventure is what you're being promoted to your next opportunity, sir.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to end this meeting now, and that's a cut. Thank you all so much. Oh, golly. Oh, man, that was amazing. Wow. I can't believe it's almost 9 o'clock. My old shows used to go long, and I haven't gone 9 o'clock in quite a while. So that's really cool. I want to thank everybody that was on the show. And Doug, I'm sorry I cut you off there at the last second, but I had to end. I knew that I just had to cut it. Thank you, Mike Benavides, Doug Hadden, Todd Smith, Patrick James, Kris, Zecca, Ross. Thank you so much for joining me on this show tonight. I really appreciate it. I want to thank Superflow Systems, Murphy Auto Transport, and Draver. If you joined the live chat, thank you for doing that. If you signed up, if you joined ATI in the member community, thank you for doing that. If you've been listening to some of the legal shows that I've done, thank you for doing that. If you have talked to me about booking a show and we've been working and planning and prepping, thank you for doing that. If you're interested in learning more about ATI and how to get involved, let me know. Send me an email, autotransportintel@gmail.com. You can go to ATIautobusiness.com. send me a message there. You can find me on LinkedIn. You already knew that. And if you're going to NADA 2025 and you want some advice, check out this show. Let me know. It's going to be the next 2 weeks on LinkedIn. The show starts. So the first day is Thursday the 23rd is when education sessions start. And then it's through 24 through 26 over the weekend. Anybody who's going already knows that. If you're not going to NADA, I'm not going to NADA. That's why I talked about it tonight. I'm going to keep talking about it, but I'm always looking forward now. What this platform is for now is current events and near future events. That's what ATI is, and it's all automotive. If you don't know why people go to NADA, I encourage you to ask me and learn more. One of the gaps that I've seen is a lot of people that go, they know all about it, and it feels like a closed conversation. And I don't really love that stuff, so I want to help you learn more about it. And I think in kind, folks there could learn more about you. So let me know how I can help you do that. It's ATI Auto Business. It's Tuesday nights, automotive ecosystem. Join us Thursday for winter car shipping status report. Should be a fun show. Me and Sue live at noon for about an hour, going through news. We're going to talk about, what are we talking about? I think we got some Central Dispatch updates and stuff like that. So if you got something to say, please do join in for that. All right, here comes the car hauler. Have a good night. Thank you all so much. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.